My father left me his house, but there was something waiting in the basement. My father and I were never close. He was the kind of man who kept to himself, spoke in short sentences, and never let anyone in. Growing up, I always felt like there was a wall between us, like he was hiding something just out of reach. He never talked about his past, never mentioned family, and never let me ask questions. When he died last month, I wasn't sure how to feel. Sad, confused, relieved. It wasn't like we had a loving relationship. But when I got the call from the lawyer saying he'd left me his house, I was shocked. I hadn't seen him in years, and now, suddenly, I owned the place he had spent his entire life guarding so fiercely. I drove down the next weekend, pulling up in front of the small, run-down house on the outskirts of town. It looked exactly as I remembered: peeling paint, cracked windows, a front porch that creaked under the weight of my footsteps. The air smelled like rain and old wood, and as I pushed the door open, I felt a strange, suffocating stillness settle over me. Inside, dust covered everything. The furniture hadn't been touched in years. A half-empty coffee mug still sat on the table, as if he had just stepped out and never returned. I walked through the house, running my fingers over bookshelves and picture frames, trying to remember what it felt like to be here. That's when I found the note. It was inside his desk drawer, written in his jagged, familiar handwriting. "Do not open the basement door." That's it, no explanation, no reason why, just those 6 words. And now, of course, all I could think about was the basement door. The basement! I told myself I wouldn't do it. I wasn't a horror movie idiot. I wasn't going to ignore my dead father's final warning. But by nightfall, I couldn't stop staring at the door. It was at the end of the hall, past the kitchen, slightly warped from age. I had lived in this house for years growing up, but not once had I ever seen my father open it. He never let me near it. I tried to ignore it. I tried to sleep, but my father had spent his entire life keeping whatever was in there hidden, and I had to know why. My hands shook as I turned the knob. It wasn't locked. The door creaked open, revealing a set of old wooden stairs leading into darkness. A damp, musty smell hit me instantly, making me gag. I hesitated, but my curiosity was stronger than my fear. I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight. As I stepped down, the light flickered over something in the corner. A chair. A single wooden chair placed in the center of the basement. And in that chair, bound in chains, was a man. The stranger in chains. His head snapped up at the light, his eyes wild and bloodshot. His skin was pale, almost sickly, and his lips were cracked as if he hadn't had water in days. I stumbled back, my heart pounding. "Oh God," he croaked. "He's gone, isn't he? Your father? He's dead?" I couldn't move, couldn't speak. Who are you?" I finally managed to stammer. The man let out a shuddering breath, his eyes filling with something I couldn't quite place. Fear? Relief? "I'm your uncle." My mind went blank. That wasn't possible. My father had no siblings. I had no uncle. "No, you're lying," I said, shaking my head. "I wish I was. But I swear to you, I'm your father's brother." His voice cracked, raw and desperate. "He kept me here. For years. And now that he's gone, you have to let me out before they come." My stomach twisted. Who's coming? His eyes darted to the stairs, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "You don't know, do you?" he whispered. "You don't know what he did. The truth my father hid." My hands were shaking as I stepped closer. I could see now that the chains around him were heavy, rusted. His wrists were raw from struggling. I wanted to run. I wanted to pretend I had never seen this, but I had spent my whole life not knowing. "Tell me," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "What did my father do?" My uncle swallowed hard. "He made a deal, a long time ago, with something that isn't human." My blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" I demanded. He let out a shaky breath. "It started with me. When we were kids, your father and I, we weren't just 2 brothers. There were 3 of us." I felt my knees go weak. "3?" He nodded. "Our youngest brother, James. He was just a baby when it happened. Our family was poor, desperate. Our father was sick. Our mother, she couldn't afford medicine. His voice cracked. So my brother, your father, he went to them. I swallowed hard. To who? His eyes darkened. The ones in the woods. The ones who whispered to him at night. He made a trade. A life for a life. The air seemed to grow heavier around us. James disappeared that night, he continued, his voice hollow. Vanished without a trace. Our parents lost their minds trying to find him. But your father, he knew. He knew where James had gone. I could barely breathe. And years later they came back for more, my uncle whispered. They always do. I stepped back, shaking my head. No, this is insane. My father wasn't... A sound echoed through the house. A thump from upstairs. My uncle's eyes widened in horror. They're here. I turned toward the stairs, my pulse roaring in my ears. Footsteps creaked above us. Slow, deliberate. Then the basement door, the one I had left open, slammed shut. And the lights went out.